The concept of a new world order has been a topic of discussion and debate for many years, with some believing it to be a conspiracy theory and others seeing it as a real and present threat. One of the most recent and pressing issues that has been linked to this idea is global warming, with many arguing that it is being used as a tool for oppression by those in power. The idea that a satanic new world order is using global warming propaganda to oppress us is a complex and multifaceted one, and it is essential to examine the various elements of this claim. On the surface, the issue of global warming appears to be a pressing environmental concern, with rising temperatures and extreme weather events threatening the very survival of our planet. However, some argue that this concern is being manipulated and exaggerated by those in power to further their own agenda. They claim that the push for renewable energy, carbon reduction, and sustainable living is not merely a response to a genuine environmental threat, but rather a cleverly crafted scheme to control and manipulate the population. One of the primary ways in which this oppression is allegedly being carried out is through the implementation of strict regulations and laws aimed at reducing carbon emissions and mitigating the effects of climate change. Proponents of this theory argue that these measures are not only necessary, but also serve to strangle individual freedom and stifle economic growth. For example, the push for electric vehicles and renewable energy sources is seen as a way to limit people's mobility and independence, forcing them to rely on government-controlled infrastructure and technology. Another aspect of this supposed plus is the role of international organizations and agreements such as the Paris Agreement and the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. These agreements, while seemingly aimed at addressing the global threat of climate change, are viewed by some as a Trojan horse for a new world order. They argue that these agreements serve to erode national sovereignty and establish a system of global governance, where decisions are made by elected bureaucrats and imposed upon nations and individuals without their consent. The idea of a satanic new world order is often linked to the concept of a one-world government, where a small elite controls and manipulates the population to achieve their own twisted goals. In this context, global warming propaganda is seen as a key tool in this endeavor, allowing those in power to create a sense of urgency and crisis that can be used to justify the implementation of draconian measures and the erosion of individual freedoms. This narrative is often tied to conspiracy theories about secret societies, such as the Illuminati, and their alleged role in shaping global events and policies. While this idea may seem like the stuff of fantasy, it is essential to acknowledge that there are legitimate concerns about the impact of global warming policies on individual freedom and economic growth. The push for renewable energy and sustainable living can be expensive and burdensome, particularly for low-income families and small businesses. Moreover, the emphasis on climate change can serve to distract from other pressing issues, such as poverty, inequality, and social justice. In conclusion, the idea that a satanic new world order is using global warming propaganda to oppress us is a complex and contentious issue. While it is essential to acknowledge the very real threats posed by climate change, it is also crucial to recognize the potential risks and unintended consequences of the policies aimed at addressing this issue. As we move forward, it is vital to approach this topic with a critical and nuanced perspective, recognizing both the legitimate concerns about the environment and the potential for manipulation and control by those in power. Ultimately, it is up to each individual to educate themselves, think critically, and make informed decisions about the issues that affect our world and our lives.